Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 7th of November. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you an overview of what we can all expect collectively, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the signs from Aries through to Pisces and the key influences for each of those. Now, this week sees on Tuesday a total lunar eclipse, an event which is going to provide an influence for the next 6 months. Now, the sign of Taurus where this occurs is actually where the moon is rather happy. It's exalted in the sign of Taurus, so it's its second favourite location after being domiciled in the sign of Cancer, but it's very close to the planet of disruption, Uranus. And if you recall, over the last couple of years, Uranus and the planet of restriction, Saturn, in the sign of the collective, Aquarius, have off and on been grating in an attritional and stressful right angle called a square. Now that threads its way through this event. Now, we also have close to the Moon and Uranus the North Node, a very significant point in terms of our collective destiny. But on the other side of the heavens, we have the Sun, Mercury and Venus all in Scorpio. The significance of the cluster in Taurus, the cluster in Scorpio and the position of Saturn is they're all in fixed signs. Fixed signs prefer continuity. They're happier with knowing how things are, maintaining a degree of stability. So Uranus is pushing us to be more outspoken about our rights in terms of our self-worth. So we're seeing a lot of protest and dissent, but also we're seeing the cost of living crisis, and a lot of that is because the second house of Taurus governs food and food distribution. Now obviously we also have the sign of Taurus being an earth sign, very much about the environment and the cost of utilities to heat our homes, to cook with, to light our homes as well. All these are hot topics. So the way people are relating to the right angle between Uranus and Saturn, and have been over the last couple of years, whether it's big government, big business, individuals, collective associations, such as citizens, finding an outlet through social media, or perhaps union output, is that everybody has a different take on how they want changes to occur. And it's obvious that some kind of reset is occurring, and we need to try to adapt to deal with this, and it's really not easy. Now, concurrent to this, the two rulers of the sign of Scorpio are in conflict, Mars and Pluto. So Pluto's in the part of the horoscope that's to do with wanting to maintain the old world order, so big government, big business. But Mars is in the part of the zodiac which is to do with how we think and articulate our ideas, but it's now in retrograde. But they're not on good terms. So this adds to the strident mix that's bubbling up. Also, Mars is in a right angle to Neptune, the planet of dreams and the ephemeral world. And this is creating a lot of illusions, a lot of dishonesty, quite honestly. And we're finding that more and more stories about corruption and dishonesty, particularly around money and people looking out for their friends when they have influence, or we're also seeing sexual impropriety. A lot of stories are coming to the open. So all of this is going to be quite a feature over the next 6 months. But please stay with me as I decipher all of this for each of your 12 zodiac signs. But if you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you as an individual based on Sirius astrology, and rise above your zodiac forecast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce your forecast for next year. And in my special package, you get the rest of this year free, and also your life roadmap, your character analysis, which helps you to understand some of the patterns that have repeated themselves, perhaps more difficult energies, but also help you to have greater understanding of your opportunities. And there's 30% off. Please see the link below. Finally, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me. I'd love it if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you're an ongoing viewer, thank you so much for all your support. So Scorpio, your week commencing the 7th of November forecast sees the moon and Uranus in the 7th house of your situation. And that means that relationships could be a bit helter-skelter. But if you're single, this could mean that a lot of attention's coming your way because of the gathering of Venus to the Sun and Mercury to the Sun in your sign. So your ability to pull things to you through your magnetism, your two co-rulers of Mars and Pluto are not particularly helpfully aligned, but Pluto's in your sector of conversation and point of view and communication on an everyday basis, and Mars is in the 8th house, which is like a craving for some kind of contact, challenge, in some ways even confrontation, not necessarily in a physical or a verbally unpleasant way. It's more like a deep emotional need to challenge yourself. So if you have a tussle with someone over a point of view, it could actually be really exciting. But the restlessness that's on that 7th house means that around relationship situations, things can feel unsettled. And because Saturn's in your sector of home, emotion and security, you can be a bit edgier, but it may have an impact on that other part of your nature that actually really does appreciate the status quo. So all of us on this particular week are going to find that there's a series of paradoxes, challenges and potential contrasts. But for you, you definitely have the ability to give out a very resonant, high resonant energy, which can pull attention to you. But around relationships, for example, you could encounter someone that you find very exciting and very interesting, and boom, within about a day or two, a flurry of emails or text messages or on a dating app, and they could be gone. But it won't be particularly dull, but with Saturn in the 4th house, that's sort of pushing you to be protective. But also the problem with that is that there's another part of you that wants to have that sense of challenge, that sense of going through something that transforms you. Very deep energies going on this week, Scorpio, to be honest. And it could lead to you even having a few tete-a-tetes because you simply need a bit of spark to light up the week. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays out for you, because obviously each Scorpio has their own personal chart, which is very, very different. Each ascendant is at a different degree. It won't necessarily be at 0 degrees, 58 minutes, giving you a total Scorpio overlay. It could be quite late in Scorpio. So it could be that these energies actually occur for you across the 6th and the 12th house axis in terms of natal astrology. But in terms of the overall piece, I think this is an interesting week when your interactions with others can just be that much edgier, and that can be an influence that hangs around for the next 6 months.